Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. It's time for our weekly mod collection demo shop recap. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this week was kinda weak, but there were a few gems hidden within the rough. Here's my picks for this week, starting with the mod collection offerings. Unfortunately, I missed the upload, so I don't know if I was able to find them all. You can only find so much using the cached web pages. But at the time of recording, here's what we've got. We have these ones that are left over from a couple of weeks ago now, and then these three new ones. Gibson actually posted this blue Firebird on their Instagram page, and a few people were tagging me. I just thought it was a straight up blue custom Firebird. Like, I like that they're doing the new colors, I've told you that enough. But this is called Very Blue Sparkle. Okay. That's the first time I've realized this wasn't just a straight blue. Hold on a second. Okay, maybe this actually is worth the money, because when I just thought it was a straight up striking blue Firebird custom, I was like, okay, it's cool, but it's not quite 10 popped collars cool, right? In order for me to fall in love with something within the mod collection, it has to A, be a unique color, and B, have a certain special something to it above just the color. So this one kind of finely dances on that line. And the back of this one is black. It looks like they've got the comfort carve back here, and it's got the matching blue headstock. I'm betting that would look pretty sweet in person. A sparkle blue top with the white trimmed binding, and then you can see that black side profile view. Well, I haven't reviewed a Firebird custom yet, but I think I'm gonna hold out, maybe wait for one a little bit more special. Well, should I? I mean, they're $52.99, brand new now. So it's technically a discount and a custom finish, but the prices were just raised not that long ago. I'll let one of you guys have it. I already bought something this week. Next up, we've got Juicy Red SG Standard. The thing that stood out for me is the fact that the bridge literally just disappears in that black pickguard. I'm wondering if it's a camera issue due to the contrast of the very, very bright red finish. It makes the darks appear darker than they actually are. And then you pair that with the gold hardware. It was kind of cool. Next up, we had a 70s Explorer that they had modded out with different pickups. You've got the white knobs, a pearloid pickguard, which looks surprisingly good on this all-white guitar. And then the back was just white. I'm curious, what pickups did they put in here? 57 Classic and a plus in the bridge. Okay, so those are completely different pickups. Then we had a 60th anniversary Les Paul reissue that they put a Dirty Fingers in the bridge. That just doesn't look like a historic guitar with the black parts on it, especially not the witch hat knobs. Kind of an interesting piece labeled as Golden Poppy Burst. I like it. Brand new, they were $6,500 when they were celebrating this anniversary, so that's about right for a used one, especially one that has a warranty. Then they had one of these SG specials where they swapped out the plastics as well, which I would say matches really well with the sparkling burgundy finish. Now you guys have to remember, these finishes are being discontinued. They're swapping over to the black and the vintage cherry finish on this model. So once all the Pelham blue and sparkling burgundies sell out, it'll be interesting to see what happens to the used value of these instruments. That doesn't mean Gibson won't bring that finish back in like 2 years. Maybe they're just going to swap it out every couple of years like they were kind of hinting to when the original and modern collection first came out. But now we're on to two of the coolest ones. It's just a Bengal burst, Les Paul Custom Axcess. This is that exact same model that people lost their minds over because they had painted it over that transparent white. That's all that one started life as. So you could technically do it yourself too. And then there was this thing. It lasted a good at least 2 hours from the normal post time of the mod shop. And when I clicked on it, I was like, okay, so if this is what's left on the page, what's sold before that? I'm sure I'm missing something. Feel free to send me links if you happen to have caught anything. But this was intriguing. It's got the pinstriping, which looks okay for this one. Do you guys remember the Princess and the Frog movie that Disney did a while ago? This is the signature guitar of this guy in that movie. When I saw it, I just got instant vibes of him, so it's like, yeah, that's cool enough to review and document. So we'll see this one next week on the channel sometime. I thought it was very fairly priced for what it is. At the end of the day, it's a Les Paul Custom, but not a regular one. It's from the ES lineup. So this technically isn't custom shop. This is from Gibson Memphis back when that was a thing. So they had this listed at $4,300. That's definitely more than this thing was new. But you have to remember, these things are now out of production and they've been going up in value. Like here's just a regular 2 pickup one, that was $3,200 used, but now we're seeing things like the specials and studios sell for quite a bit on their own. And then you could also take a look at the more limited edition special ones that had the 3 pickups and the Bigsby's. People are paying $4.5, $5.5, sometimes up to 6, $6.5. It's kind of like the classic customs. Those things were cheap at one point in time, but now look. $3,000. These are not custom shop guitars, but you know, believe it or not, they sell for it simply because people think highly of them and because it looks like a regular custom. Sometimes it really is just uneducated buyers thinking they're getting a custom shop guitar and they don't realize what it is. The other part is collectability factor. So I really think Gibson probably could have got close to $6,000 for this piece. Because let's take a quick look here. It's got the pinstriping job, it's got the multicolored pickup rings and everything, but you have to understand, the entire thing has been refinished and it's transcended what this is. This has inadvertently become a widow, and a widow within Gibson terminology means the binding has been covered over in a sprayed lacquer. And heck, they even match the nut. That's nice. So a great way to describe this guitar would actually be Gray Widow Pinstriped ES Les Paul Custom. So for me, I was looking at this on my phone while I was eating lunch. I put my phone down, I went to my computer, and I ordered this thing. Because the other box it checked for me is I haven't reviewed the ES Les Paul Custom yet. I've done the ES LPs if you want to check those out, and honestly, I don't really like them that much, but now that they're no longer in production, they're kind of cool. And I've had the Florentine Les Paul Customs, but those are way different beasts as compared to these. So I look forward to checking that thing out. I'm just happy I was able to also get a custom finish at the same time, as well as getting what I consider a fantastic deal. I'm surprised that one lasted as long as it did, but maybe people were confused what it was. But now let's move over to the traditional demo shop. Not a whole lot outside of Player's grade models this week. This thing I wanted to show you simply because it looks great. I love all blacked out looking Les Pauls when they have some sort of a carved top to them, especially the mahogany topped ones. Now this one's just maple. I like that it has a little bit of wood grain going for it. I mean, nothing too crazy, but it's also one of the HP series ones. So it's got the Axcess like heel carve to it, satin finish on top of it, titanium nut, slightly wider neck width, but locking tuners. It's still available at the time of recording for $1,200. This thing reminded me of a jack-o'-lantern because it's got like a pumpkin burst going on here and then it's all blacked out. And $2,100, not that bad of a deal after the price increases. I was curious to see if that would change the pricing within the demo shop, but so far it doesn't seem like it. They're still basing it off of the original $24.99 price. This HP Studio kind of confused me because it's called Alpine White, but I think it's slightly aged from sitting in its case. Like there's a little bit of a yellowed hue to it. And you can tell that that's actually aging because there's areas around the tuners that haven't been aged as much. So it's kind of cool. You can also see that in this area where the clear coat has been rubbed off a bit. These white finishes, they do tend to yellow out, but like it even turned pink here. This must have been in one of those cases that would leach into the finish. I've heard rumors when Gibson shoots white finished guitars, they have to like have a dedicated booth to them. Otherwise, sometimes the cherry reds will fade into it. But that one has one of the HP cases, and those do have a red interior, so maybe that's what did it. And they're asking $10.99 on that. This Les Paul Traditional, I mean, kind of similar to that last pumpkin burst we were looking at. It's got an interesting V-shaped flame pattern. Like, it's just mainly wood grain right here, but like heavy predominant flame in this shape. Now, I'm sure in person, that's not quite as apparent. That's just studio photography. I'm sure it has flame over here as well. It's just kind of playing peekaboo on us. And then the neck kind of has a candy cane striping to it up here, primarily on the headstock. I think that would look pretty cool in person, but wow, that one's from 2017. $16.99? I think I would agree with Reverb on that one. But then this studio, I think it's one of the hidden gems within this time. Like, $13.99 with dot inlays I think is a bit much, but studios shouldn't have tops like this. Like, I don't even think it's supposed to be a Studio Plus or anything like that. That was just, you know, you happened to get lucky in the wood grain lottery. And it looks so great with all the blacked out plastics and that dark red finish. This thing is evil. I just wish it had the trapezoid inlays, but hey, they even put Lock and Grover tuners on it in gold. Looks like it got a few nicks and dings, Some of the lacquer sinking into the wood grain along the edge of the neck, not a big deal at all. And you get a gig bag. I mean, for that kind of money, I'd probably get a 90s studio. But if you're looking for something modern and kind of cool, maybe check that out. I wonder, what pickups do they put in here? Oh, interesting. MHS humbuckers. So that's kind of like what we're going to find, what originally would have been in the ESLP lineup. So that adds to its uniqueness. This 50 standard, I don't personally like it, but everything I don't like about it also intrigues me at the same time. So we've got this really dark vintage sunburst finish going on, like almost a complete black border, and then it fades into this more burst color. So they have a cream pickup ring here with creamed out control knobs. Okay, black pickup ring here corresponds with the black ones. Okay, then we get what looks like a gold bridge with a chrome tailpiece with black studs. It looks like that might be black too, a custom Les Paul pick guard. Did they take the poker chip off? No, they did not. It's just, or did they? Okay, they did. See, I thought when I first saw that photo, it was still there, but no, that's just the impression of one. I just thought it was so black that it disappeared. No, they did take the poker chip off. And if all that wasn't enough, look at your headstock. They've got multicolored tuners on here. You would think they would have 3 on one side be one color and then 3 on that side be the other, like the OCD and you might assume. But no, this is what intrigues me the most. They flip-flopped the bottom one. It's so wrong, but at the same time, when I was modifying my old Les Paul Custom Epiphone, I remember mix matching Clusons and Grovers on it because I thought, that'd be funny. So I'm guessing that's what this employee was thinking too. It'd be funny. But you also have to look. Silver nut and washer on all those, but the ones that they flip-flopped, they put a black nut around it. Okay, and then don't forget your brass truss rod cover here that has a black screw and a chrome screw. I mean, this guitar is like, I hate it, but I like it at the same time. Like, and if you're crazy enough to want to buy this, I mean, it's here, $2,300. I feel like you need a very certain personality to pull a guitar like that off. But who knows, maybe somebody will get this, and in 20, 30 years, Gibson will be creating custom shop replicas of something that looks exactly like this. It certainly is distinctive. We had another Lefty Silverburst, but I didn't want to feature this one for the finish necessarily, or because it's a Silverburst, or even because it still has these Schaller made in Germany tuners that they've been putting on all these guitars in this finish. And it's not necessarily because of any of the wear and tear. Look at the parts on this. You see that? It's all rusty. Then you look at your pickguard. It's also rusty. I'm wondering if they had a bunch of parts that got submerged during their flood. That was what, almost 10 years ago, something like that. And they're deciding, hey, yeah, now we can use it. Or they're buying cheap used parts in bulk from somewhere. And then they're using them on these demo shop guitars because they're less expensive. And people go, ooh, it's aged. Aged parts on newer guitars. I really don't know because they still have to warranty these things for at least 2 years, playability wise. So I just thought that was interesting. It looks like they tried to age everything else, kind of. I'm not sure if it really matches this guitar, but it was interesting nonetheless. Then there's this custom. I mean, they threw one of these vibrolas on it. I'm not a big fan of these, but if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right. Put the cover on it that says Gibson, then maybe it would look nice. Personally, for me, this one's just nah, I think they kind of ruined the Les Paul Custom. But I suppose if you don't like that, you could always throw a regular Bigsby on here, and that would cover up the additional screw holes they put in here. I'm not sure who's going to buy that without the cover on it, though. Might look okay on like a hollow body guitar. This was just a Les Paul Special, original collection. I just thought it had pretty decent wood grain for one of these things. It almost looks like an older guitar than it is. Or is it? Okay, so it's got these back plates, which is not in this era of Gibson. Oh, that's a 2016. Okay, that's why it looks like an older one and not from the original collection. Okay, scratch all that. $8.99 seems like a good deal for one of those. And then I think one of the nicest guitars out of the demo shop this week is this 50 Standard Honeyburst. I'm not surprised it sold really quickly at $2,100. That's just a nice top for one of these things. Like, yeah. The back, kind of boring. But that top, definitely worth getting excited for. Congratulations, whoever got it. And then to continue on with confusing guitars that I don't agree with the modifications on, this poor white Studio, they gave it these wooden knobs, which are cool. They come from the BFG run. They're worth quite a bit on their own. But then they put pink pickup rings and then a pink toggle switch tip, which comes from the Les Paul P series, or at least that's a series they did that stock on the early ones anyways. And then the rest is gold. Like, this just doesn't work for me. If I had to give this thing a nickname, it'd be Stan Rash White Guitar. And I say that because when white guitars get left on a stand that are not nitro safe, they can get the yellow burn marks, but I've seen it enough times that they turn pink. So it just reminds me of a Stan Rash on a white one. It did end up selling for $10.99, so maybe there's a different reference you can pull out of this, but I just think Stan Rash White Studio that absorbed Les Paul piece in a BFG. They also had another Les Paul special that they did these special pickup covers on. I swear, all they're doing is cutting up old Hummingbird pick guards that are damaged and doing that. I'm really curious, so if anybody bought that one, I would like to see what material that is. I did have somebody send me a photo of these toaster top pickups. So what this is, it is a P90 that does not have a cover on it at all. And then they use the mini humbucker cover on top of that. So they secured the P90 to the guitar using the screws right here. And then this is just secured to the body. I mean, you don't even have to have it. It just covers over the side of the P90. I was being thrown off because I thought they were just tiny P90s that already had a cover on it. So those aren't as special as we thought they were. But this one also got the wooden knob, so that's kind of cool. And if I remember correctly, the price was not bad, $12.99. I guess if you're going to buy one of these anyways, it's not too bad. Then this custom, given the Stormtrooper vibe, uncovered bridge pickup, chromed out hardware with a TP6 tailpiece, making this thing look vintage. But then right next door, its neighbor is hyper high performance knobs right here, the UFO shaped metal ones, even the metal switch tip. Whoa. I mean, they just went full out chrome hardware on this thing. Schaller tuners and all. I can't quite see what they did with the toggle switch. It almost looks like they put something completely custom in that. But that thing sold at $44? Ew, that's an interesting pickup combination. 498T, 500T. So they've mixed ceramic with Alnico, and normally that is a bridge humbucker. I mean, those things are hot. I think they're what, about 15K ohms? And then that's going to be about the same. So that is an interesting combination. So I think that's going to do it for this week's recap of the mod and demo shop. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.